You live and you learn, like how many different meals you can get out of a single corpse.
Clay roasted thigh and canoe cut marrow bone. Smoked, glazed, served on a sugarcane quill.
At least 3. Thanks, Hannibal. But let's talk about something more movie related. The whole point of a movie trailer is to sell you on the movie. They want to give you just the taste of what's in store if you go and see this movie. And it makes sense that they sometimes sell it really well. For horror movies, sometimes it's just enough to get you hyped up like, ooh, this is gonna be spooky. Or this is gonna be really dark, or maybe sometimes funny. In my bony opinion, a good movie trailer sells you on what kind of movie you are in store for and gets you excited to see it, but doesn't reveal too much to where you feel like you just saw the whole movie in 2 minutes. The trailer for Passenger, not to be confused with like 4 other movies with the same damn name, but 2026's Passenger had a very good trailer. At least I thought so. It gave you a complete start to finish scare. On its own, it could have been a short 5-minute horror movie on YouTube, which I am a big fan of and will eventually make a video on my favorites. It shows 2 guys driving down a road late at night, pretty good friends. They pull over and one guy goes to take a piss. He goes far enough just so that nobody can see his tiny pecker. He hears the car horn going off and quickly comes back to the car to see all the doors open, lights flashing, and his buddy missing.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O.
He gets in and tries to call his buddy, but his phone is still in the car. Then his friend's body crashes into the car, scaring the shit out of our guy. Then it gets yanked away. The guy takes off driving and is caught in a loop. He seems to be driving down the same road and passing the same person on the side of the road once, twice, and on the 3rd time the person appears inside of the car, giving us a monster screen title card.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Yeah, I would say that was a very, very good trailer for a horror movie. Probably one of the best. A bit longer than I like, but it's essentially a teaser, and I love teasers. If they are done well, they give you a very dark scene, and it gives you just that little special tingle in your pants.
Are you sure you don't have testicular cancer?
Evil Dead Rise is another good example. So going into Passenger, I was pretty excited. May is considered to be a stacked month for horror movies, so I was off to the theaters with all the confidence that every horror movie dropping in May was gonna be solid.
So unwise.
Yeah, Passenger broke the streak I had. Over Your Dead Body was very fun and funny. Hokum was a pretty solid folk horror movie that had a deep personal message about the main character. Mortal Kombat 2 was a big improvement on the previous one. It was pretty fun for most of the movie. Obsession was incredibly solid, and then Passenger just had to ruin it all. Let's get spooky with a fair amount of spoilers. The movie starts off with the teaser trailer that they released. 2 guys driving, one takes a piss, comes back, and the madness begins. Title card. And then we get introduced to our real main characters. Not super surprising considering what happened to the other guys. So in comes Maddie and Tyler, who just sold their place and most of their belongings and set out to be van lifers. It's clear that Tyler is really into this idea and Maddie is kinda about it. He gifts her a little bobblehead Bob Ross. No mistakes, just happy accidents. That's her life motto. They also get a mobile GPS tracker and a St. Christopher's necklace, the patron saint of travelers. 6 weeks later and on the road, they are going from place to place, having little moments.
Just making it to the next moment.
Fuck me, that was a great movie. Back to Passenger. Maddie and Tyler get stuck in traffic and that completely ruins their plans, but Tyler improvises and makes the inside of their van nice and proposes. Maddie says yes, but she hesitated. Not just because a neighborhood watch guy bangs on their van after he pops the question, but also because she's not as super into their current lifestyle as he is. We get a scene of her oogling a family celebrating a birthday party at their house and she has an envious look on her face. She does still say yes and they spend the night in a hotel. a little splurging. The next night, they are driving and our gal takes the wheel while Tyler is sleeping in the back. And there is a car coming up on their side trying to flag them down and uh-oh, it's the car from the intro.
Oh no.
The car passes them but crashes pretty soon after. They go and check on the guy in there and some spooky stuff happens. A few claw marks on the car gets a little extra attention and then the cops show up. The next day before their travels, they see the same claw marks on their van that were on the car from the previous night. 3 diagonal lines. Some time passes and they go to Burning Van. Seems like a good old fun time. Lots of people showing off their little side hustles and food. Tyler sees his van lifer idol there and he gets a few tips from him. Our gal wanders and sees a big board of missing people and a symbol of the stick figure with the 3 lines on it, and it spooks her a bit. And then she meets a friendly old gal, Betty, that's been doing this for a few decades. They get to talking and open up and Maddie tells the story about what happened. And the old bat panics and asks if they stopped. She says yeah, and the tone really shifts in the conversation. Betty gives her some rules of the road: stay off the quieter roads, only travel by day, and never stop. People don't take trips. Trips take people. Ooh, spooky. Burning Van continues and everybody is having a good time, but every so often our gal sees the ghost or the monster in the distance. After Burning Van, they spend their evening in a 24-hour gym parking lot, one of the tips from the pro van lifer. Maddie finishes her gym session and goes back to the van while Tyler finishes up. And we honestly get some very good scares here. The movie does have plenty of jump scares and some of them are pretty effective, but it also has some of the other good stuff. The tension building, the ominous moment, the feeling of helpless dread. The scares end with her being trapped in the driver's seat and the monster, who looks just like a guy with black clothes, black hair, and eyes, starts choking her from behind. She grabs the St. Christopher's necklace and presses it on the monster's hands and it burns them and it runs away.
Making him yet another stupid bitch!
Tyler comes back and she is freaking the fuck out, and he believes her and they camp out somewhere else. Nice guy. They drive the next day and open up about their upbringings, and Maddie moved around a lot in like foster places and Bob Ross was her only constant, and she's always wanted a home with something more stable. Tyler opens up that he had a stable home with 2 parents and his upbringing was miserable, and that's part of the reason why he wants to be on the road, something completely different from his upbringing. You would think that would be a deal breaker in the dating phase of their relationship together, but hey, maybe they both suck and just settled for each other.
That seems harsh.
They go to a thrift store and she grabs a book of hobo horror and it has a page dedicated to hobo road signs to know, and 3 diagonal lines means it's not safe.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O.
That evening, our gal is looking up The Passenger, and this is where the movie kind of loses me. Up until now, things were going pretty well, pretty good scares, and I don't mind the idea of a scary movie on wheels. But just stick with me. Maddie's reading of The Passenger is like 3 lines, and it really does nothing to build the mystery. Just, hey, there is a scary guy. Do this and that, and you'll be safe. Tyler sets up a pretty sweet and romantic movie night that turns scary, and they even use a projector as a flashlight because the ghost monster keeps fucking with them, and I really liked that part. A fairly unique idea that could create some pretty good scares. They are able to get away, and Maddie confirms that this is the thing that she has been seeing. They go to a diner, and she shows Tyler all that she knows, which isn't much, but she remembers where van lifer Betty was heading towards, and she thinks she has the answers that will help them out. And I am like 96% sure that we did not get that info when we met the old bird, so if I'm right, that was a big fuck up in either the editing room or in the storyboarding room. They head to Flagstaff, Arizona, and we get some spooky scares on the road, and some are pretty good. This ghost has some serious powers and loves playing with its food. Even though he normally doesn't do it for this long, he's probably making an exception for Maddie and Tyler because they are the main characters in the movie.
Obviously.
Also, in the last few scares, the monster spoke some English words, which I wasn't a big fan of. He is starting to seem a bit like a poorly thought out cartoon villain, just surface level shit. They head to another van, camp out, and find Betty, and they tell her about what's happening, and she sounds the alarms, and everyone gets the fuck out of Dodge. Apparently, every van lifer knows what our couple is going through and doesn't want any of that shit. Betty tells them that there's nothing they can do, but maybe they could go to a super hyper specific St. Christopher's Church that's not on any map, but if you follow the hobo signs, you can get there and maybe weaken its powers and then you can kill it. This really seems to have come out of nowhere that this thing is killable. Betty decides to take them to the church, but when they are in their separate vans, the ghost comes up from behind her and pulls her neck back so hard it explodes. Ouch. They head to a gas station and vow to find the church. They also grab like 30 St. Christopher's necklaces and hang them all over the van. On their way to find this church, they read up on St. Christopher's story. He was traveling with a person, but the person turned out to be a demon disguising himself as a holy man out of mockery.
That's it?
Are you fucking kidding me? That's really our big bad? Just a random ass demon dressed like a preacher?
Fuck you, blow me.
I'm just gonna speed run this ending because that's kind of what the movie did with its main villain. Some spooky stuff happens, the necklaces don't really do shit even though they did a lot before, but whatever. Some more spooky stuff happens, though not nearly as good as before, and our gal is able to drive the van with the demon on top of it into the staff of a statue of St. Christopher and kills the monster. Tyler triggered their little GPS from the beginning of the movie and the cops and ambulances come. They vowed to get a nice gated house with a guard dog and never go out at night, and the movie ends.
That's it?
Fuck you, blow me.
Man, they really fumbled this movie. This had such potential. The teaser for this movie was so good, it could have been a horror short on its own, and after seeing the movie, it should have been a horror short. This movie perfectly illustrates that sometimes giving us the answers to our questions can do your monster a disservice. Our imaginations could have done better. This should have been a less is more kind of horror villain, not a second string Conjuring villain. There's nothing unique about a demon looking like a religious man anymore. It should have just been a hobo, vengeful spirit, or I don't know, just fucking anything. Anything else would have been better than this. Is this a terrible movie? No, but it's definitely a wasted opportunity and not very much worth your money. There are solid scares, and that's about it. It would have benefited so much by having a larger cast so that we could have a higher kill count of characters that we give a shit about. The guys from the beginning were marked for death from the get-go. Betty's death, who really cares? She had one scene before she got killed off, not really a character we really grew with. And her death highlights how much plot armor the main couple had. We are given zero legitimate reasons to why they weren't killed off much sooner. And yeah, sometimes happy endings can be nice, but the way the story could have gone or should have gone, a sad ending in the woods would have been the better option. Or a sad ending on the road, I don't know. Hell, I would go as far as to say that that is what the audience really wanted. And I am pretty confident in saying that because the reviews from all the major movie ratings websites are pretty bad. Anyways, thanks for watching, even though it wasn't very spooky.